Hey Teresa, guess what time it is?
Time for dinner.
What's for dinner, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Happy Tuesday evening. It's 4:15 our time. So what do we got going on tonight?
So my favorite, easy, you just got home, so then you just threw burgers on the grill while I did bacon and eggs. So
Yep.
burgers, and the burgers we had on Saturday that we bought, store-bought, the beef brisket burgers were not good because they were not fatty enough for me. So.
Yeah, they didn't have a whole lot of flavor, but these are our tradition. For those of you who don't know, we like the higher fat burgers. We get these from Walmart. It's the cheapest ground beef that they've got. It's 70-30, so 30% fat on these. And so that's why you can see all the grease in the pan. And then, of course, we like a helping of mustard and Jane's Crazy Seasoning and also Redmond salt.
Yep.
And then what else do we have going on?
Bacon.
Okay, bacon in the air fryer.
Yep.
So super thin and crispy and delicious. And then these eggs look really orange and really huge. What's going on with that?
They're farm fresh eggs.
They sure are. Yay.
Yep.
So our awesome nurse Angie brings in these every week to us.
Yep.
A whole dozen or so.
Yep.
All right, so this stuff that we've got going on today, metabolically speaking, will this cause our blood sugar or our insulin to rise?
No.
Okay.
Only if you added burger buns with the burgers, mac and cheese, baked beans,
French
fries, coleslaw, anything like that. Well, coleslaw is probably coleslaw the way I make it, but coleslaw dressing in general sugary. So yeah, no, not only if you add carbohydrates to this meal.
What about like ketchup and things like that? So,
Yeah.
you got condiments, and so we like mustard, and we like the salt and pepper and things like that because they're low or no sugar.
Yeah, ketchup is a lot of sugar, and there's stuff floating around Facebook all the time that shows most of the Heinz ketchup is, if you did a equal sugar part, it's mostly full of sugar.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, you got to be careful with that across the board because just salad dressings, condiments, things like that. Not only sugars, but they're loaded with seed oils.
Yeah.
So
A podcast I was just listening to today when I was sitting outside, he was saying, I don't even like to call it that. I like to call it an industrial byproduct.
well, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, engine grease.
Yep. it
So,
is.
wow.
That's bleached and then deodorized, and it's just gross.
Yeah,
So.
right on. Well, so what else do we want to talk about today?
Well, my job is hormones, and so I, again, recently, which happens all the time, as a patient, I'm talking to her about something else, and she just said to me, this was yesterday, I also just saw my GYN last week, and then I was like, oh gosh, here it comes. I try to tell my patients, keep what we're doing on the down low. There's no reason to tell anyone else because they just get super excited, and then they'll try to tell you you're going to die when they don't know when you're going to die. So she doesn't really like this guy because she feels like he might have botched her hysterectomy a little bit. So then I'm like, well, why are you going back to him and taking advice? But he got a little excited about her estrogen and said a woman of your age should not be on estrogen. And I look at her age and she's like 58 or
So
57.
you would put her on estradiol, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So,
Is 57 too young to be in menopause?
no, I
or
mean,
perimenopause,
bury
or-
me with my hormones when I die, whether that's tomorrow or 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Okay, bury me with my hormones. That's how long I'll be on them. So providers, whether it's a GYN or not, does not have information about bioidentical hormones. No provider has nutrition advice. So when you go to your provider asking them for information on hormones, all they're going to say for females is hormones will kill you.
Same thing with metabolic health, like low carb, keto.
Yeah, like it's going to kill you.
If you want to give them an easy out for you, if you have something wrong with you, all you got to do is go tell them you're on hormones or go tell them you're doing low carb, and they'll be like, oh, well, that's the problem.
Yeah, it'll be
That's
so
why you
much
need your
easier for
pancreas
them.
out or, whatever.
Yeah, so, I mean, these are really frustrating things. The system that we're in now, maybe not started out this way, but the system we're in now for the last 20 years, healthcare system, is designed to sell drugs.
Yeah.
There's no research putting into cancer, preventative diabetes prevention, nothing. It is all research driven on how to treat those diseases. So you're on your own with little people like me and the people in these spaces, which I did a post today and listed all my go-tos for information on things.
I always like to tell people, when we're talking about the medical system as a whole, there's a hierarchy, all right? And for the people who benefit from people being sick, and we're at the bottom of that hierarchy, just so you guys know, to kind of cut to the chase. But, at the very top of that hierarchy is the pharmaceutical companies. They make the money first and they make the most money. Then you've got medical device manufacturers and things like that, hospitals, hospital systems, and surgeries, Then you have the providers in there, and at the very, very, very bottom of that whole hierarchy is the patient and the patient's outcome.
Although the boards, like nursing boards, would say that they're only there for patient safety, but nobody cares about that.
Yeah, it's.
So the people that give the most money to politicians for lobbying, the biggest lobbyists, is the pharmaceutical companies, followed very quickly by big food.
Yeah.
So that tells you why we're in the situation we're in now.
And also, just a note to the pharmaceutical companies and the big food, they also write the curriculum for the providers. Whether you're a dietitian, a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a nurse, the curriculum is written by those industries. So they're naturally going to be very biased in what they're telling and what the education that they're providing. So they literally write the textbooks.
Yeah.
So
in like nurse practitioner school, every chapter, whether it's heart or GI or whatever, is the last part of it, which is like 20 pages of small writing, is all the meds they want you to choose from. It's just an ill, and you match a pill with that. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
like an
you don't
algorithm.
stand a chance getting better on your own. And standard of care dictates that. Standard of care dictates that diabetes type 2 is a progressive and chronic disease. The way they treat it, it definitely is chronic and progressive. So the standard of care doesn't allow them to fail. If you go on to die, to get neuropathy,
retinopathy, neuropathy,
or your leg amputated, nobody gets excited, nobody's going to get sued. That's standard of care. They expect you to progress to those dialysis and all that other stuff.
That's a normal algorithm progression that people are expected to go through, right?
Diabetic retinopathy, I don't know why I couldn't say it, but they expect all of those things because the treatment is such. So that's standard of care. Nobody can get in trouble. Nobody can get sued if you're following that standard of care. Even if your leg gets amputated and you go on dialysis, standard of care.
But if you step in and you decide to put somebody on low carb, you go outside of that standard of care, what happens?
I mean, I could be in trouble.
Yeah, if something happens.
Yeah, that's why Low Carb USA and the Symposium for Metabolic Health has practitioners and dedicated hours and hours to coming up with new guidelines, a new consensus, because all standard of care is a consensus. So we could get like a few of you watching at our house and get 5 of us around, and we could come up with a consensus statement on what we think. The sky is yellow. It's a consensus statement.
Yeah.
So the people here have gotten together and they've looked at all the studies and research and really come up with a new consensus statement and new guidelines, which helps providers like me when we go outside of the standard of care.
There's a protection mechanism in place there because there is a consensus that goes outside of the consensus that, like, for instance, most traditional hospitals and doctors and stuff get into. So that's great. Those people at the Symposium for Metabolic Health, the SMHP, and then Low Carb USA, they're doing fantastic work. Oh my gosh, they're doing fantastic work.
And these people are volunteering. People like Dr. Tro and the Noakes Nutrition Foundation. I mean, these people are volunteer. Nobody's paying them.
And these early pioneers too, like getting involved with this, like there's no monetary benefit to them, but there is a tremendous downside benefit where if they could lose their license or get in trouble, and some of them have.
Yes.
So they're going out on the limb to try and help their patients, and a lot of them are being punished for it, losing their license, getting,
their office buildings burned down, and then their house 6 weeks later gets burned down.
So there's a lot online. Now it's getting better, like for it's a little easier, a little bit better now for providers to be able to step out and say stuff about this. But early on, these early pioneers, well, they were taking some arrows for sure.
So the next conference for the SHMP, because it used to be called Low Carb USA, but now it's a little bit different. But the next one is coming up in San Diego, and all 4 of us will be here, me, Mark, and the boys. We go every year. I'm going to share it on my page. They do it virtually too, but San Diego, can never go wrong going to San Diego.
For sure, yeah.
It's one of our favorite places.
So fun,
So anyway, that's all. It's frustrating, but only you can advocate for yourself.
Yep. So hang in there. And did you have anything else?
No, that was enough.
Oh yeah, that was good. So all right, guys. Well, we love you.
Yes.
God bless you all, and we will see you next time. Hey, tell us what you all are having for dinner, and if you have any questions, shoot them our way.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
See you next time, guys. Bye.